Oh man, way back around the turn of the century, because I was born in the 1900s. Not bragging, just telling you like it is. Yeah, turn of the century. I'm living in San Francisco. It's the night before Thanksgiving. It's Wednesday night. You probably knew that. I didn't need to say that. I've had a long work day. It's been a long work month, and I'm not going out of town. I'm so excited about it. And I go to my neighborhood bar where they're throwing a shindig for all the locals who are, not traveling and seeing family, and it's perfect. And I go and I get my vodka tonic, and I'm having a good time talking to my neighbors. And in walks my three buddies, CT, Paul, and Jimmy Ho. And they had been planning this big all-night road trip for that night down to Baja, Mexico. They rented a van, and all week they'd been bugging me, calling me every day, trying to get me to join, and I had declined. And so they walk in, they said, "Hey, bud, we're going now, just coming by to see if you've changed your mind." The plan was, drive all night, get down to Baja in the morning, go to this beach that CT used to go to with his family as a kid and camp out at, and make turkey tacos. Because nothing says Thanksgiving like tacos on the beach in Baja, California, Mexico. So I say, thanks, guys. I'm so honored, but I am so looking forward to doing nothing. I'm just going to be home in my cozy little apartment with all my creature comforts and, have a great time. And Paul just kind of looks at me and smiles, and he takes the vodka tonic out of my hand, puts it on the bar. At the same time, I feel Jimmy Ho grabbing me from behind. CT grabs my legs. They pick me up and turn me sideways and start, I'm horizontal now, and they start walking me out of the bar through all these people, and people are noticing, but they're not doing anything. They walk me out of the bar, and I realize they're taking me to the van, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm being kidnapped. I'm being kidnapped by my friends, and I'm going through my head, how am I gonna get out of this? Am I gonna, once I'm in the van, can I, when we slow down, do a tuck and roll, in the movies? And I realize it's a battle I'm not gonna win, and so I pivot, and I say, hey guys, can we, if we're gonna do this, can we at least swing by my apartment so I can pick up a toothbrush, a t-shirt, maybe a change of underwear? And they're like, Steve, you should have thought about that before. And we get to this big white Dodge Caravan, they slide the door open, and they just heave me into the back seat, and I land on the seat, and the first thing I see is just right out in the open is this massive, it's the biggest bag of weed I've ever seen. It's not like a sandwich bag or even like a gallon Ziploc bag. It's like a clear pillow, like they picked it up at Costco, and I'm like, my friends, they're very enthusiastic hobbyists in the culture of cannabis, and but even for them, this was massive, and I'm like, you guys, you can't drive around the city with the biggest bag of weed I've ever seen in my life. I think that might be the definition of drug trafficking. I don't know, but you can't do it. And even for you guys, there's no way you're going to make a dent in this by the time we get to the border, where I assume we have to throw it out. And they're like, dude, no, that weed is for Mexican Thanksgiving. We're taking it into Mexico. And I'm like, what? You can't, what? Through the border? And they're like, dude, relax. We'll hide it. It's going to be fine, So my friends, the only people trying to smuggle drugs into Mexico. So, they're like, it's going to be fine, chill out. And so we start debating, where are we going to hide this big bag of weed? And, Jimmy Ho says, just shove it under the front seat. And Paul says, no, that's the first place they'll look. And Paul says, why don't we just stuff it in our one of our sleeping bags? And CT's like, no, that's the first place they'll look, to tape it under the tire, the wheel well. And, everything that was suggested was that's the first place they'll look. And we're just bickering the whole way, and we get to Kettleman City. It's about halfway down the state on I-5. We stop for gas. You know, I suggest maybe we find a station with a mini mart, and I could maybe pick up a toothbrush, maybe a t-shirt, change of underwear if they have it. And my request is denied. I should have thought about that before. We continue on down I-5, and the debate continues on. You know, put it in the spare tire, cut open the lining of the roof and stuff it in there, put it in the cooler beer. Always the resulting, you know, cheer was, that's the first place I'll look. So anyway, we finally get down to San Diego. And I point out that this is a place with lots of opportunities to stop for maybe a toothbrush or a t-shirt, maybe a change of underwear. I am denied again, and we get through San Diego, and as we drive towards the border, you know, the light pollution starts to fade away in the background, and it's a super dark night, and it suddenly gets really dark. The lights on the highway are just few and far between at this point, and it's a moonless night. Pretty soon, all you can see are the lines in the road just right in front of the van where the headlights are lightening them up, and off in the distance, like popping up on the horizon, we start seeing these little dots of flickering orange light, like stretching out into the distance off to the east. And, you know, CT had made this trip many times, and we said, CT, like, what are these little flickering lights? And his voice softened, and he said, those are campfires. Those are hopeful immigrants, and this is their last, you know, chance to rest up, their last chance to have a bite to eat, and you know, tomorrow they're going to be making this mad dash, hopefully to find a new land. And we all got quiet, and like all the boisterous laughing stopped, the bickering stopped, the tomfoolery stopped, and we're all just staring out the window at these lights. And I thought, God, I'm such a jackass. Like all these campfires that you can see, as you know, just as far as you can see down the border, and they all have people around them, all people who've been traveling for days or weeks or months. They got almost nothing, and here I am. I have cash in my wallet. I have an apartment to go home to on Monday. I've got a bunch of great friends, you know, the kind of friends that'll commit felony kidnapping to show you a good time. And I was like, God, here I am worried about a change of underwear? Like, what an asshole. And so we all just kind of stayed lost in our own particular thoughts, and it remained silent, like all the way to the border. And we get to the border, you know, the guard asks Paul some basic questions. He waves us through. We continue on in silence. We turn west to start heading towards the Baja Beach. And after about 15 minutes of driving in this thoughtful silence, being, you know, I think we're all thinking the same thing, being grateful for all we had, grateful for having each other. And yeah, after about 15 minutes, Paul finally breaks the silence. He's been driving this whole time. He was relatively sober. And he turns around and he says, oh, guys, where'd you end up hiding the weed? And I looked back at CT, and I looked at Paul, and they looked at me, and then I looked down on the seat next to me, and right there, right out in the open, was the biggest bag of weed I've ever seen. Thank you.
Steve Whyte, everyone.